Hey, it's Jack Sperry, NFL draft analyst for Chat Sports here, and today we're going to be going over LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels. I'll be going over my full scouting report, the pros, the cons, my pro comps for Jayden Daniels, the former Heisman winner from LSU, and then also I'm going to be talking about whether the Commanders should take Daniels over Drake May at number 2 overall in the 2024 NFL Draft. If you guys want more NFL Draft content every single day for free here on YouTube, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now. And without further ado, let's get into today's show. So now let's go to Jayden Daniels here, go over his pros and cons. But before we get to those, let's go over his profile. So he's a little bit older than Drake May. He was a 5-year college player, but he's kind of a younger 5-year college player where he's only 23 years old. He just turned 23 in December, so he's definitely a young buck for somebody that was in college for 5 years. The Pro Football Focus grade was the best in the country. I mean, he did win the damn Heisman Trophy for a reason, man. 94.7, absolutely incredible. And right now, Pro Football Focus ranks him as the 11th overall prospect and the number 3 overall quarterback. So you compare his stats in 2023 to Drake May's, and you might be saying to yourself, Jack, what the heck, man? Like, Jayden Daniels is way better than Drake May, all right? But keep in mind when you're looking at these numbers, all right? Drake May had pretty much no help at North Carolina, a bad O-line, receivers that were just subpar at best. Jayden Daniels was working with a really good offensive line that was giving him clean pockets all the time, and then also he had some of the best receivers in the entire country last year with Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors as his number 1 and number 2 targets. I mean, that would be a great 1-2 combo in the NFL, let alone college football. So, of course, Jayden Daniels throws a really accurate football, over 70% completion percentage. When you just look at the numbers, you're going to say Jayden Daniels is the better QB, but I think if you put them in the same situations, I do think that they're pretty comparable talents. So let's go over the pros and cons here. There's a good amount of pros, but there's also some cons here with Jayden Daniels. First one is his frame, and there's a lot to work with here, all right? We'll talk about him having to fill out a little bit here in just a second, but he's 6'4", too, man. Like, he's a tall cat, all right? This guy, if he fills out a little bit, that 6'4" frame is exactly what you're looking for in your franchise quarterback in the National Football League. He's going to have no problem seeing over the middle of the field with that height. Number 2, and everybody knows this about Jayden Daniels, he is a dynamic rusher. It was one of the big reasons why he won the Heisman Trophy last year with the Tigers is that, if Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas wasn't open, he was able to get outside the pocket and he was able to run. He's got an awesome cut, which really makes him dangerous in the open field. I'm not necessarily going to put him on the same level as Justin Fields right now. I think Fields is just a tick better than him in the rushing department, but I would absolutely put him in the same category as someone like Lamar Jackson right now, and that's definitely saying something with that type of quickness and that type of speed. This guy's going to be a real weapon, and it actually lowers the bar quite a bit for what he has to do as a passer to be a successful quarterback in this league. Number 3, he definitely has a strong arm. He can throw it down the field, and it's really a good arm that can throw it 50, 60 yards down the field. There's no question about that. And then not only is his arm strong and can throw it far, but he also throws with great touch. And this is one of the things that he has an advantage over Drake May on, is that he throws a prettier football, right? When it goes up there and he's got that nice arc, I mean, it's super catchable on those deep passes. That deep ball is among the prettiest that you're going to ever see, which is definitely one of the selling points here of Jayden Daniels, because he mixes that dynamic rushing ability with that really nice touch pass deep down the field, really catchable deep ball. It really is a thing of beauty, and his highlight tape is really one to behold. It really is great. Then number 5, something that I really like and something that might get a little bit glossed over because of the playmaking ability with his legs, is the pocket presence and the footwork within the pocket. All right, when he has a clean pocket and he's within rhythm, he plays with good base, he does a good job getting through his reads, all these different things. I really like that pocket presence, being able to see pressure, feel pressure, get out when needed. Really like what I see from him in terms of that pocket footwork. So really, he's polished in certain degrees for sure, and then he's dynamic in others, which really makes his ceiling sky high. But there are some cons here that make him a potential bust in the National Football League as well. Number 1 is mental processing. I mean, I'm sure I don't really know if he can do mental processing because he just wasn't asked to do it all that much at LSU. Most of the time, his first read was open, and there was a lot of times where if that first read wasn't open, he would just take off and run. So is he capable of doing it? I don't know. That's why the interviews are going to be important for him. That's why the Wonderlic is going to be important for him. I think, that ability to get from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, a full field progression is going to be big in terms of his evaluation this spring. Number 2, vision. So there was some times where he just left meat on the bone. Sometimes there was open receivers down the field and he passed up to run the football, and that's just not what you want to see from an NFL quarterback. If you got big chunks down the field that you can take advantage of, you got to be able to pull that trigger, and you have to see that those guys are open. There was definitely too many instances where Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors got open for him in his line of sight where he decided not to pull the trigger. That concerned me just a little bit. And then, you look at the highlight tape of Jayden Daniels. You can, after this video, you can go check out any highlight clip or any highlight edit or reel that you want on Jayden Daniels. Count how many times he's ripping like an in-cut over the middle of the field. You're not going to see very many of them. Most of them are slot fades or post routes or just straight up goes from his receivers and they're winning one-on-one. All right, that's not really how you win in the National Football League from a down-to-down basis. You're beating people with mental processing. You're beating them with short game. You're beating them with in-cuts over the middle. And Jayden Daniels almost never targets the middle of the field when you look at his heat map, and that concerns me a lot. That was the big issue with Kyler Murray, with Cliff Kingsbury. Of course, Cliff is the new OC here in Washington, and if he looks at Jayden Daniels' film, he's like, this guy's not ripping wide open digs over the middle of the field. He's not seeing it. Like, do I really want to go with this again? Another quarterback that's not seeing the middle of the field. It's definitely something that the team that drafts Daniels is going to have to develop in his time in the National Football League. Another thing that really concerns me is that he's got that nice frame, that 6'4" frame, but he is definitely skinny, and he takes a lot of big hits on film, man. When he's running, he doesn't really have great awareness of the players around him, and he takes some massive shots. And, the leverage advantage definitely isn't there. So if he gets a big hit from like an NFL linebacker at his height and at his weight, there's definitely a concern that he's going to have broken bones, that he is going to get injured frequently in the National Football League, and especially if he gets those lower leg injuries with his speed and how much he depends on his athleticism. One injury could be enough to completely make him a bust in the National Football League because it would take away his gift, which is his rushing ability. And then finally, when he's a playmaker outside of the pocket, he's not really looking to pass. Like, same thing with throwing over the middle of the field here. Like, you look at a highlight reel of Jayden Daniels, you're going to see lots of deep passes, and you're going to see lots of times where he's getting outside the pocket to run. You're not really seeing it like with Caleb Williams or Drake May, where he's getting outside the pocket to throw. I don't really think that that's a strength in his game. So although he does have that dynamic ability to rush with the football when the play breaks down, I'm not too sure about his ability to make plays with his arm outside of the pocket, which is something that Lamar Jackson has really cultivated in his game with the Baltimore Ravens. And that is the high-end comp here, is that Jayden Daniels is a bigger version of Lamar Jackson if he can develop in the same ways that Lamar was able to coming out of Louisville all those years ago. It's what's made him a two-time MVP. And really, Jayden Daniels, his ceiling is higher than Lamar Jackson's, as crazy as it sounds. Now, he has quite a bit to develop, just like Lamar has throughout his career, but he's got the bigger frame. And that's really what gets me excited, is that he could be a bigger, taller, stronger version of Lamar Jackson with a better deep ball. I really do think that his touch on the deep ball is better than Lamar Jackson's, all right? So this guy definitely has that high-end upside. This guy has multiple-time MVP written all over him, but he also has NFL bust written all over him as well. If he's too injury-prone, if he can't stay healthy, if he can't learn to throw over the middle of the field, Jayden Daniels is going to have a really tough time really cultivating himself as somebody that can compete for Super Bowls in this league. But if he can develop, man, the high-end traits are definitely there for this kid, and it's definitely an exciting prospect heading into this process. Now, the low-end comp is a skinnier version of Justin Fields. And as we know, Justin Fields hasn't really exploded onto the scene just yet. Now, I think Fields is slightly better as a rusher than Jayden Daniels. He's bigger. I think he's slightly faster than Jayden. But, the comp is there. They're both bigger guys. They have bigger frames. They both have really good deep balls, all these different things. And both of them have a tough time seeing the field. So if you don't like Justin Fields, you probably don't like Jayden Daniels' game either, because they have a lot of the same strengths and they have a lot of the same weaknesses as well. So my grade for Jayden Daniels, because of that insanely high upside, is a top 3 pick. All right, plain simply in the National Football League, if you have the opportunity to get somebody like this in your building, somebody that could win multiple MVPs, somebody that could really catapult your team into Super Bowl contention for the next 5-6 years on his rookie contract, you probably go ahead and take that. Now, it's probably going to be a little rocky to start his career, all right? He still has to develop as a mental processor. He still has to really learn how to become an NFL-level passer of the football, but that high-end dynamic rushing ability is going to lower the bar quite a bit for him in terms of what he needs to do as a passer to really be successful in this league. So he's definitely exciting, but he's definitely risky as well, especially because he's a fifth-year player. He's a little bit older. All these different things contribute to kind of that boom or bust dynamic that he has with his profile here.